Hello and welcome to a special edition of Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you for joining us. And we had to take a moment to address this federal judge's ruling on the AR-15. And we knew we didn't really want to wait until next week to get on this because it's very topical and it's very important to you, the gun owner. And where do you start? There's so much to say about this particular incident or ruling or what have you that it's kind of – I have so many things to say. Jared, where should I even start? Oh, by the way, Jared's on the other side there. Oh, and Jared, I am supposed to refer to you. I've been admonished as the producer.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
I mean, are you?
Yeah, I am supposed to refer to you as the producer.
Okay. Well, you're welcome.
Well, I'm pretty sure that I have in the past, haven't I?
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm going
to go with yeah.
I've referred to you in a lot of different ways by a lot of different titles. So, yeah, Jared is technically the producer of Student of the Gun Radio. He's over on the other side there, on the other side of the glass case of emotion, and he is producing. That's what he's doing right now. He's producing the show. Whether or not he puts in the super cool bumps and so forth and the funny music. Now, before we get really deep into this, because I know once I start monologuing, I'm not going to stop. We want to take a moment to thank everybody who responded to our recent survey. We did a survey. Well, it was about 6 weeks ago, Jared, about home defense guns and training and so forth. And if you responded to that, thank you very much. We actually had over 1,000.
Yeah, we had quite a few. I wasn't really expecting that.
Yeah, it was well over 1,000 people responded to that survey. So if you're one of the people that responded to that, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And it was one of those. It was kind of a test bed. We did that. Jared and I sat down one evening over a cigar. Actually, well, he had one and I had one. We didn't share a cigar because that would be homo, and we don't do homo here. We're no homo. And what else are we not supposed to say, Jared? Besides no homo.
Man up.
Oh yeah, we're done.
And if that offends you, you should man up.
Yeah, you should. Man
what
up.
else we got here?
Yeah, there's a lot of things we're not supposed to say. When in case you guys haven't figured it out yet, being fans of Student of the Gun Radio, you don't tell me what I can't do because that makes me want to do it more. Because apparently I'm very contrary. But driving on. Yeah, we did the survey. We sat down. We were having cigars. At our favorite cigar shop, and we were talking about how we could kind of get more audience feedback, more feedback from you guys, and kind of figure out what it is that you're looking for, what it is you want. And so we put together that survey. And the reason I'm mentioning it is, A, thank you for participating, and B, we're going to be doing more of that in the future. So watch your inboxes. And Jared, tell them, I mean, if they want to participate in things like that, what do they basically need to do? They need to subscribe, right?
Yeah, if you subscribe go to studentofthegun.com, and we've got a little form over there on the right, and enter your name and your email, and that we send out all the cool stuff via email, and we also pick the winners to our giveaways, which we'll be announcing one here relatively shortly.
Yeah, and for all of those of you who hate social media and hate Facebook and hate all that, here's the deal. We kind of hate them too. But it's a necessary evil, and we use that to reach out to you. It's kind of like using the enemy's weapon against him. But make sure that you're signed on. Make sure if you're listening to the sound of my voice and you haven't taken a moment to go over to studentofthegun.com and sign up for our electronic newsletter, especially if you hate social media. You're like, I hate social media. I'm never going to do it. I'm like, okay, great. Well, how are we going to tell you all the cool, neat, interesting stuff that's coming up with Student of the Gun if you won't at very least subscribe to the newsletter? Come on, guys. It's all it costs you is your first name and your email address. And you could win some really cool stuff. We're going to be giving away more stuff here in the near future. And we want to thank all our friends at Colt, our friends at Excess Sights, at who else, Jared? Oh, SWAT Fuel and Brownells. SWAT Fuel and Brownells. I don't have the actual show notes open in front of me. What I've got is I've got my source material open in front of me. All right, so we did all the thanking. We did all got all the stuff out of the way. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right, this the story's been all over the place, but our main source for this is gunsavelives.net, and the date line is August 12th, 2014, and the title is Breaking. federal judge rules AR-15s are dangerous and unusual and not protected by the Second Amendment. Now you're thinking, what? How does this even come up? And if you haven't heard this, perk up your freaking ears and listen. The title of the story says, in what looks to be a terrible ruling for Maryland gun owners, a federal judge essentially ruled that guns that were regulated by the state of Maryland last year, including the AR-15, the AK-47 style rifles, as well as other magazine-fed semi-auto guns with certain features, quote, and this is a quote from the judge, fall outside of Second Amendment protection as dangerous and unusual. Now let's talk about this. How did this suit get going? Well, the suit got going because the state of Maryland, as you guys know, if you don't know, Maryland is a slave state. They just decided that the peasants no longer needed to possess, and they could not be trusted to possess certain types of guns. So, and the fact is, let's face facts. Maryland is chock full of liberal, Democrat, progressives, and their willing slaves. You got tons of comfortable slaves up there in Maryland that just go along with anything. And if a desk lamp has a D behind it, they vote for it every November. So what you've got is you got the state of Maryland decided that the peasants can no longer be trusted with evil, nasty AR-15s and AKs and so forth. And several groups sued the state. And you had the Associated Gun Clubs of Baltimore, you had Maryland Licensed Firearms Dealers Association, the Maryland State Rifle and Pistol Association, and the National Shooting Sports Foundation. What? They actually got in on that? Wow. That's kind of surprising because they usually don't like to make waves. And it says, among others, that challenge Maryland's strict new gun laws. So it gets up to the court, and this is what happens. Now, what have we told you before? It's really difficult on a national level to push through gun bans right now, and they know it. So what they try to do is they try and kind of circumvent things, and they'll go to the court, or when they know that they have a friendly court, they'll put it in front of the court knowing that pretty much they've already got their votes counted. They already know what they're going to get. Well, what we've got here is we have a ruling from Catherine C. Blake, and you guys out in Free America, you're like, who the freak is Catherine C. Blake, and where does she get off telling me what kind of gun I can and can't own? Well, let me tell you, Catherine C. Blake was born in Boston, Massachusetts. That's a strike against her. She went to Radcliffe College. This is from her Wikipedia page, so it may or may not be absolutely right. And she went to Harvard Law. So, and you're like, well, how did this chick get on the bench? How did she become a federal judge? Well, she was appointed by none other than William Jefferson Clinton. That's right, William Jefferson Clinton of the Monica Lewinsky fame. And all you young kids who don't get that reference, you need to go ahead and duck it. But and you say, wow. So what we've got here is we've got a Clinton appointee who was put on the bench in 1995. And I know some of you went to public school recently in the last 20 years. But Jared, if she was put on the bench in 1995 and it's 2014, how long's that been?
19 years. 19
years. See, and Jared even went to public school, and he got that right. So what you've got is you've got William Jefferson Clinton, who's been out of office now for, since the year 2000. But he's still screwing us. He did it to Monica Lewinsky, and he's doing it to us still, based upon his judge appointments. And Jared and I were talking last night, and we were driving from one place to another. I don't remember even where it was, but we were talking about this case. And when I was in high school, I remember being in the U.S. government class as a senior, and I remember our instructor pointing out how important it was to basically, to elect the right person as a president, or how a president can affect the nation long after they'd gone, long after they had left office. And they do that by their judge appointments. And at the time, I went to high school in the 80s, and I remember the instructor pointing out Supreme Court justices and federal justices and who appointed them. And at the time, there were still several justices on the bench that had been appointed by Richard Nixon. And he said, now Nixon resigned. He's been out of office for, at the time, like 20 plus years. but he still was affecting policy technically. I mean, he himself was not. But let's face it, if a president appoints you to a seat, you're probably on the same wavelength. Comrade Barry is not going to put a strict conservative constitutionalist on any court. Are we down with that? So if you are, have, let's say, left-leaning tendencies, if you have socialist tendencies, if you have activist tendencies, if you believe the job of the court is not to interpret law but to legislate from the bench, then you're going to put those kind of people on the court. And that's what we've got right here with this Catherine C. Blake chick, Harvard Law, born in Boston, Massachusetts. So let's dive into her opinion. Now, according to this, it's a 47-page opinion because judges and their assistants like to write the stuff. But according to this review, it says, quote, "Upon review of all parties' evidence, the court seriously doubts that the banned assault long guns are commonly possessed for lawful purposes." All right, if that doesn't make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, I don't know what's going to. First of all, this judge has already bought into this assault weapon BS. When you purchase an AR-15, when you purchase an FNFAL, a SIG rifle, an AK variant, and does it say on the packaging assault rifle? Does it say one assault rifle? No. Where did the term assault rifle come from? Jared, where did it come from?
I'm going to go ahead and say gun control advocates.
Yeah, the media. It came from gun control advocates. I don't even know who the first person to say it was, but it doesn't matter because it's part of that trying to control the language. And now that we've got that, we have the media that just spouts it off. Everything that is, every firearm, everything that actually goes bang, according to the media, is an assault weapon, especially if it has a pistol grip on it, because pistol grips make guns way more dangerous than they normally would be. But here we have a sitting federal judge who is bought into the fake language of assault. So she says the court, which means her, has serious doubts that banned assault long guns are commonly possessed for lawful purposes, particularly self-defense in the home, which is at the core of the Second Amendment right, and the court is inclined to find these weapons fall outside Second Amendment protection as dangerous and unusual. Are you getting that, ladies and gentlemen? And I know some of you have checked out, or you've kind of you said, well, I don't live in Maryland, and the stupid Maryland law doesn't apply to me, so I don't care. Jared, what happens when a federal judge issues down a ruling? What do they create, Jared? Starts with a P.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I just lost it.
Did you blank out on me?
Yeah, I was.
You need a cup of coffee or something. Yeah. He's over there blanking out on me.
Hold on.
Jared's been up since 6 a.m.
Judicial precedent.
Yes, precedent.
Precedent.
What she just did from the federal bench is she established a judicial precedent. And that's how the court, what do we teach you here on Student of the Gun? That for the most part, very, very rarely do judges rule all on their own or all on their own opinion. What they like to do, and what is the easy, safe thing to do, is for a judge to consider a case or prosecuting attorney or a defense attorney or whatever, and to go and seek out previous cases that were very similar and find a ruling and say, well, based upon Judge XYZ, Judge Smith's ruling in 1865, the precedent has been set, and they always defer to the higher court. So if you have a state court, let's say you have a state Supreme Court, and the question in your state, whether it's Colorado or New Jersey or New York or any slave state that you happen to live in, where you've had these bullcrap gun control laws foisted upon you by liberal, Democrat, progressive pieces of human filth, what they're going to do and what they could potentially do here in the future, if it comes to them, they'll just go say, well, hey, according to this case, and it's Kolbe et al. Versus O'Malley et al., And they'll say, hey, in this case, a sitting district judge, U.S. federal court district judge, issued the following ruling that said guns are, quote, dangerous and unusual and fall outside of Second Amendment protection. All right, well, let's go ahead and there's like I said, there's so much in this to dissect, to talk about. It's crazy. What we've got is we have a sitting federal district judge that went to Harvard Law. And apparently in Harvard, they don't teach the Bill of Rights or the Constitution, or they just kind of teach it like Common Core maybe. I don't know. So she says are commonly possessed for lawful purposes. So what she's saying in this is that the vast majority, because if it's common, then that's the majority. So she's saying that the vast majority of AR-15, AK-47 weapons are not possessed for lawful purposes. So that means you guys that own them out there are possessing them for unlawful purposes.
I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to look it up right now. But how many cases of unlawful use of a weapon or whatever they call that have they had in Maryland with
ARs?
Rifles?
Yes.
Yes.
I would, nationally, what did we say? It was like
it was ridiculously
312 murders with rifles, and even fewer of those were actually with the AR. And then she says, particularly self-defense in the home, which is at the core of the Second Amendment right. Really? Really? Ms. Catherine C. Blake, graduate of Harvard Law. What you're telling me is that the Second Amendment is about home defense, not about defense against a tyrannical, out-of-control government? So go ahead, Jared.
I have the Second Amendment from the Bill of Rights transcript on archives.gov. And it still says what it's supposed to.
Oh, they haven't changed it yet?
No. Yeah, they haven't changed it yet. So I'm going to read it just in case this judge happens to listen to this.
Rock on, Jared.
It says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
So, all right, and there's a bunch of commas in there. A well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary for the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to be armed shall not be infringed. To keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, hey, Catherine, or if anybody knows Catherine, you might want to go ahead and hand her a copy of the Bill of Rights, because it doesn't say you get to have a gun for home defense. That's not what it says in there. What does it say, Jared? To preserve a what? To preserve a what? What are we trying to preserve?
Oh, a security of a free state?
The security of a free state. Now, who is the threat to the free state? Is it the burglar, the lone masked burglar who's going to break into your house at night? That's the guy that you need to be afraid of. Who is a threat to the security of a free state?
The government?
Let me see. It would be an out-of-control government, or a government that has decided that it no longer needs to follow the Constitution of the United States of America. Hey, and how in God's green earth do we have somebody that's supposed to be a constitutional scholar that is supposed to be interpreting the Constitution and deciding whether or not a law is constitutional when they can't even read the freaking Bill of Rights? Or is it that they can read the Bill of Rights, but they have their own personal agenda, and so from the bench they're going to legislate their own personal agenda and decide what you peasants do and do not need? And and then to continue, it says, first, the court is not persuaded that assault weapons are commonly possessed based on the absolute number of those weapons owned by the public. What? Okay, idiot. I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and go there. Okay, idiot. How much research did you do? Jared, what is the most popular centerfire self-loading rifle in the United States of America today? Go.
The AR-15.
The AR-15. I don't know what you're basing that on. Just ATF transfers? What? But the number one centerfire semi-automatic rifle in the United States of America, and it has been for at least 5 years now, is some variant of Gene Stoner's AR-15, whether it's from CMMG or Smith & Wesson or SIG or Colt or you name it. There is no debate, if you're debating in the arena of facts and reality, that the most popular centerfire semi-automatic rifle in America is the AR-15. So this judge is full of crap right there. And it says, even accepting that there are 8.2 million assault weapons, and here we go with the assault weapons thing, in the civilian gun stock, as the plaintiffs claim, assault weapons represent no more than 3% of the current civilian gun stock. And ownership of those weapons is highly concentrated in less than 1% of the U.S. population. Now, hold on a second right there. So what Catherine is saying is that constitutional rights and constitutional protections only apply to you if you're in the majority. Are you getting that right there? So she's saying, what this chick is saying is, if you are a minority in the United States of America, if you represent a smaller than however many arbitrary percent she just comes up with, that the constitutional protections don't apply to you. What do you think, folks? So let's take it to the next extreme. I got one for you. This will really rile you up. All of you people that look to the government to solve your problems, and if you look to the government to solve your problems, you're probably not listening to me right now, but I know you know people. I know that you, out in the listening audience, know people that look to the U.S. government to solve all of their problems, to make their life correct, and to justify their, way of thinking. Well, I don't like fur. I don't like meat. I don't like guns. I don't like this. The government needs to force people to change so that they can be like me. Or the government needs to force people to accept me, or to force people to tolerate me, or to force people. All right, cool. Let's talk about gay marriage. Oh, man, you just did it, didn't you? All right, let's be serious here. The fact of the matter is, and let's face facts, homosexuals, despite what Hollywood portrays, are a minority in the United States of America. They are a minority, and I would say the ones that want to get married are even a greater minority than the total number. So, based upon Catherine C. Blake's logic here, if you are a minority, then the Constitution does not protect you. You are not entitled to constitutional protection if your way of thinking is in the minority, according to Catherine C. Blake, sitting judge. Thank you, William Jefferson Clinton. So I'm sure you guys know people that are, they don't like guns and they don't like this and they don't like that. And let's go ahead and go down to the final paragraph here that's quoted on the gunsavelives.net website. And it says, finally, despite Platon's claims that they would like to use assault weapons for defensive purposes, assault weapons are military-style weapons designed for offensive use and are equally or possibly even more effective in functioning and killing than their fully automatic versions. Dude, so what this chick is saying, in her formal legal opinion that is now on record at the district court in Maryland, the federal district court, this opinion is on record as an official document. And according to this chick, first of all, the assault weapons, all that it's hyperbole, it's crap. It's this media-generated think speak, all right? It says, that they are not used for defensive purposes. Stop the freaking presses right there. Stop the presses. Are police officers allowed to gather in masses and go out and offensively kill American citizens? Yes or no? Jared, are they allowed? Does the law allow that?
No.
What do you mean it doesn't allow that?
No.
Well, according to Catherine C. Blake, district judge, the AR-15 or assault weapons are military style designed for offensive use and are equally or maybe even more effective in functioning and killing than full auto versions. So based upon this chick's opinion here, this chick's legal opinion, if you see someone walking around with a black rifle, they're not in defensive mode. That gun is not for defensive purposes. It's for offensive purposes. So what can we assume there? That the state, now, is in Maryland, does it say that everyone needs to be disarmed? That no one that lives within the state of Maryland can possess an AR-15? Or when they passed that law, did they write in a government or state exemption where employees of the state, the district, the cities, the counties are exempted from that law? You guys tell me. Anybody who's up there listening in the People's Republic of Maryland, and I really don't have to guess. I know for a fact that if they had blanket outlawed all AR-15s in Maryland to include employees of the state, that we'd have heard about it by now. It would have been news. So what do we have? What do we know here? We know that based upon this opinion, that the citizen has been stripped of their ability to possess certain types of weapons. The state has exempted itself from that law, which is tyranny. If the government exempts itself from laws that it applies to the citizen, that is the definition of tyranny. Just so you know, in case you're not sure about that. And she says that the possession of these assault weapons have no defensive purpose but offensive purpose. So I guess up in Maryland, what you could do is if you see police officers in Baltimore or wherever and they're possessing black rifles, then what you've got is you have agents of the state that are out on the offense. Is that correct? Because that's what I'm reading right here. There is so much wrong with this ruling. I know where to start. I don't even know where to finish. There's so much wrong with it. But we thought you would appreciate those points right there. And what should make the hair stand up on the back of your neck is this is now official legal opinion in the United States of America.
I want to go back to the first paragraph where it says, blah, 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 blah. The court seriously doubts that the banned assault long guns are commonly possessed for lawful purposes. So I went to goccp.maryland.gov and I got the uniform crime statistics for 2013. And I also looked up the population of Maryland for 2013. The population for 2013 was 5,884,563 people. Okay, the total amount of violent crimes that happened was 27,720. So you're telling me that percentage right there is larger than the amount of people that own an assault weapon.
Does it say like the guns that were used?
No, it does. It just says violent crime was 27,720, and then property crime is a separate one. It's total crime was 185,422 instances. So if you divide that by 5,884,563, that's pretty low.
Well, if John Lott, I just pulled this up. John Lott, the author of More Guns, Less Crime, and I'm waiting for the server to go ahead and kick in here. But I went ahead and Googled rifles in crime, and in an article from the Wall Street Journal, and this is dated January 17, 2013. John Lott, and let me see if I can get it here. Essentially, he digs into all the this, the Bushmaster has to be banned, the AK has to be banned, all this jazz. It says It says one should bear in mind this is based on the FBI's uniform crime statistics. Based upon the FBI's uniform crime report of 2011. Okay, the murder rate in the United States fell to 4.7 per 100,000 people, and also that just 2.6% of all those murders were committed by someone using a rifle. So I'm not really sure what stats that old Kathy Blake here, I'm not sure what stats she's using, but according to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, 2.6% of all murders in the United States were committed using a rifle, and that's all rifles. That's 22 rifles, that's bolt action 30-06s, that's everything, including the evil AR-15. So how is it that the majority are not kept for lawful purposes? And how would we fall back again in that you have to be part of the majority to receive constitutional protection? That's where we're at right now? So, hey, Kathy, so what you're telling me is that the First Amendment only applies to people who hold a majority opinion? So if you don't hold a majority opinion, according to Kathy here, the First Amendment doesn't protect your speech or your writing or anything or your communication.
Yeah, I've got another question. This opinion kind of contradicts itself, because up here it says that the court seriously doubts that what I said earlier, that the banned assault long guns are commonly possessed for lawful purposes, but they don't provide any proof. How did they come up with that? They seriously doubt it, but there is no proof. And then down here, lower,
doubts it.
Yeah, well, lower it says the court is also not persuaded by the plaintiff's claims that assault weapons are used infrequently in mass shootings and the murders of law enforcement officers. So they have to provide documentation on their assumptions, but the court does not have to provide documentation on theirs.
No. Why would she? No, why would she? Well, and here's the bottom line. Here's what we have in the United States of America. The bottom line is Kathy is part of the elitist ruling class. She's part of the men in black or chicks in black that have their own personal agenda. They have their agenda. They have their ruling class agenda. And what they're going to do is they're going to rule based upon that agenda, not upon fact, not upon the actual Constitution or the Bill of Rights, because obviously she doesn't even know what the Bill of Rights means if she thinks the Second Amendment is there for home defense. This is the worst kind of legal garbage. And what makes it even worse is the fact that it is, hey, in the United States of America, let's face it, all the lower courts look to the upper courts. The locals look to the states look to the federal, and so forth for their opinions. And what this is done, no matter where you're at, whether it's because all right, let's say that the Colorado, that comes up. It comes up before a judge. What can they do in Colorado, New Jersey, New York, California? What can they do? They can go right back to this case and say, see, according to this district court judge, the guns that you peasants wish to possess they do not fall under Second Amendment protections, because you're in the minority and the Constitution doesn't apply to you. It only applies to me, the ruling class. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up. And I know you guys are awake because you're listening to me. Wake your friends up. Wake your family up. Tell them, look, get your freaking head out of your butt. Get your head out of your fantasy football league and your Dancing with the Stars. What we've got is we have activist judges who've decided that they're going to reinterpret the Constitution as they see fit, and they're going to disarm you, the peasant, because, let's face it, peasants can't be trusted with guns. Can't allow the peasants to have guns because they might revolt. We can't have that. Thank you very much, Jared. Do you want to say something before we sign off? You got the face going over there. He's shaking his head. He's like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm angry right now.
Are you angry? Yeah, okay. He's done. Well, thank you very, very much for joining us for this special edition of Student of the Gun Radio. We're glad that you're here. Don't forget to join us each and every Monday. Well, we release the new material on Mondays. We will have the TV show Monday night. Check us out at studentofthegun.com. Download the mobile app for your iPhone, your Android device, anything iPhone related, iPad related, what have you. The mobile app is what, Jared? It's everything. It is the hub. Yes,
it's everything, and it's also free.
And it's also free, thanks to our buddies at Century Arms. So check that out. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, at now, even more than ever, you're a beginner once, but you need to be a student for life.